Hey folks, time once again for me to do some prior daily targets on CSSBattle.dev. These are from the 19th, 20th, and 21st of November 2023. Let's just get right to it. Once again, you can get to access to these using with the Plus membership on CSSBattle.dev. Well worth it, very enjoyable. I have certainly enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so I think this is a pretty straightforward, as complicated as it is. This is a pretty straightforward one. This is one that I have looked at in many different ways. I believe I've done this at least in CodePens. If you go looking for my CodePen, maybe I'll put the link in the notes. I've done this with clip paths, I've done this with linear gradients, I've done this with multiple conic gradients, I've done it with lots of ways. So given the choice to do it quickly, or as quickly as practical, what do I do? So let's see what we need to do here. I think it's multiple linear gradients, right? So each one of these backgrounds needs a look and feel. So I think it's a linear gradient at a 45-degree angle, and then it's sized in a specific way. So I do it just off the top of my head. I'm going to do transparent. And then 45 degrees, and this is on the element itself. So I've done the work that I needed, and let's just show you what I'm doing here. So I want it just to be within the shape where there's pink. So let's actually do that. And it's not blue, it's that. And then in the background, we don't need another color. We just need to trust that it's there. And then we put it in the upper corner, and then our width is what? It might be, so we can make either the small squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those, or the larger squares, which are, there's 4 of them, and that would be 25%. So 25% feels like something we can do something with. So that's 25% in width. And then in height, if that square is a quarter, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll also do 25%. And then if I do no repeat, you can see that that's the one thing that I've got. So what can I do with that? To do a linear gradient, so that's the sizing of that background. And if I do 45 degrees and do what? So let's do the first part of that. I think we're coming in from, actually it's 135, is that right? And then some percentage or some number of pixels, 30 pixels, 0, 60 pixels, 0. So that's, you get that. Now, does that help us? Maybe not. But do we need this shape somewhere else? Well, we do, actually. And if we do that at, so if we do what, 30 pixels, let's see. Now, let's actually put it where we need to go. 20 pixels, 25 pixels, 25 pixels. So there's a nice round number. And then what happens if we go 50 pixels? All right, so that's no good. But we can get the 4th row or half of the 4th row that way, right? We could do that by lowering this by what? If it is 140 tall, then half of that is 70, and then that's 35 pixels down, and that means it's 70 pixels down. Okay, so that's kind of a thing. And if we do it 50% wide, no, 50% wide, no, 50, Oh, and then, okay, so if we drop off this, then we got that. Now, is this a good way to do it? That's the question. Maybe it's not terrific. So what's the right way to do this? I feel inclined, yeah, so this is a way I've done it, but it does end up being lots of linear gradients. So let's, instead of doing that, we'll put a conic gradient in the upper corner and have it be 25% wide. And that conic gradient, so this is going to break everything. So this is invalid syntax for the conic gradient. We're going to put it at the 50% 0, so that the top is where the center of it is. And then we do this pink color, 90 degrees, and then transparent. And we don't see anything. Why? Because we don't have a from, I don't believe. I think that's the thing we're missing. 90 degrees, 0, from 135 degrees. And that gets us that shape. Yes, I know, it's a little bit a wonky way to do that. And worse, that 50% might not be completely right. How about 20 pixels? Let's see. 20, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So do we have the margin slightly wrong? How about the top margin? What if we change that top margin to be 79.5? That looks a little better. 4, 3, 2, 1. How about just 79? 79, maybe 79 is actually the correct number, because I want it to be mathematically as precise as it can. And so now if I do a repeat X, I get the top corners, more or less. If I want to do the bottom one, it's going to be very similar. Now that's identical, but the at in this case, or rather the colors that we're trying to do, so the at 0 and 100%. Okay, and then we want that to be going upwards, and it's from minus 45 degrees. And then we need to move that down. So now you can see some effect. 100%. Okay. Not too bad. 36. How about, so is the height wrong? And then is the width wrong? Ugh. Not super great. It's close though, okay? It's close. That's the thing to remember. All right. Okay, so lastly, if we do, we'll do it all conic gradients. And this one will be from 180 plus 45 is 225 degrees. At 25%, 50%. We just need just 25%. And then, actually we need no comma between these two. Okay. And then we need to do transparent as our first color. And that's at 25%. and then pink. There we go. So we can see it now. And then the height is going to be, it's going to be at 50%, 50%. The height is, so the width is 50%. The height is 50%. And no repeat. And we need a hard edge there. So we've got that. And the X position here needs to be what, 0? There we go. All right. And then we want to do the flip side of that one. So yes, the conic gradient, incredibly powerful for this work. So we changed some numbers here. So what numbers do we need to change to? We need to do from 45 degrees. Right, and so that's now covering up what we had before, and then we need to move this to be what, 100%? And the position on that, so from at is at 50%, 25%, oh, 50%, 50, no, 75, there we go. So is this a match? Oh, it's not totally close. We got some edges there. Now, given yesterday's daily solution, that's 99.8%. Not great. All right, so is this a good approach? We're gonna have to tweak all these numbers. Kind of a bummer, right? Kind of a bummer. I certainly feel inclined at this point not to be excited about the solution for my own reasons. So is there a simpler way? Is there a far simpler way to do this? Is kind of my interesting question there. Particularly because there seems to be this error getting introduced. So what if we tweak these numbers a little bit more? 80. Do we get anything better? And then it's that height 140. It's not a lot better, huh? Let's resubmit. So we're at 99.8% match. Yeah. And that's 99.7% match. Okay, so let's do it another way. Life gives you what, lemons? What if we didn't want to do anything, but what if we didn't want to make an element? Let's do that. Oh yeah. So here's the all background way. This is not too daunting for me. So I'm going to go out in, so linear gradient, 45 degrees, and we want this dark red, and transparent, and then dark red again. And then let's use 40%, 0, 80%. So 40 is too big. 3. So we need that, and we want that number to be here, and that number to be there. Okay, so 30, 20, 5, 6, 25, 24, 25, 24.5%, 6.7, 0.8. How about in pixels? 10, 20, 30, 25, too much, 24, too much, 23. There we go. And then this number, what, 400 pixels, 370 pixels, 31, 32, okay. And then on the other side, minus 45 degrees. All right. That's the first part. Then what? Now we need conic gradients, right? We need zigzag conic gradients. And it's so much of a thing. Okay, so we want a conic gradient, which is from 45 degrees, transparent to let through the pink that we're going to do at the very, very end. And that pink is going to be 75%, and then the dark, and then 0. So that's our first one. And then we're going to do that several times. So can we variabilize this top one? Let's do that. And we'll call it --t is this thing. And then we can just drop it in, bar --t, and there it is. And now, so we notice we don't have a size on this. We just don't care about the size. We just want to see if we can get it right. We can optimize it and have it be a size and all those things, but really we just would like to position it. So let's do 50%, and then what, 50 pixels? That's too low. 3, 2, -20, -30, -31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and you'll notice that it is repeating there. How about 36? 35. 35 it is. So that's the first one. And let's do that 2 more times. Or are we kind of asking for trouble and we should optimize now? So this is the top one, and we only have it usable there. So if we do then a size, so we do 50%, nope, we can't do that. If we do, let's go ahead and do this. All right, so we're gonna not use the variable, and let's do it sizing it. Because now we know that what the position is for 1. In theory, that will help us position it for others. There it is. So we kind of have it. So what, 50, 60, 70? Kind of. I am just not super comfortable with that. So see the little bits of error that are getting now introduced that are problematic. That makes me think that I was on the right track before. We're just going to do these one at a time, every corner, one at a time. All right. So that is at that, and we need to do this 2 more times. So that these numbers will change. So the one this way, which would be negative, -50, let's say, 60, 70, okay. And then this one probably means it's 70 pixels, okay. And then the next one, we'll call this one the bottom. And that is from 135 degrees. Yeah, 135 degrees. 135 degrees, and then that's bar B. Bar B, so you can you see it? So it's not from that angle, is it? No, it's from, oh, it's 180 plus 45, which is 225. 225. All right. So what are the numbers there? We're going to need 3 more of these as well. So 3 total. Comma, comma. Okay. So this one, we're going to go down, and actually we're not going to be able to see it, so we got to remove these 2, right? These 2 extra ones. One at a time, one at a time, one at a time. So 50%, 200 pixels, 120, 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. All right, that's not bad. Next. And are these going to be the same number? 70. That the repetition in these numbers ought to make you think, well, can I do this a little bit differently? Can I tune these numbers a little bit better? Okay, so there's 1, and then what, 70 pixels? There's the second one. And then this one be minus 70. I hope. There it is. Okay, and let's put pink in the distant background, even though we're not near done. So you notice those little edges. That implies to me that the horizontal axis here is not quite right. 40, we've got 50% horizontally. No, that, I think that one's fine. Sorry, yeah, so this is 71. All right, 71. And this is 71. Okay, that's 71 as well. So 71 maybe is more correct. Or 70.5. 70.5 is even a little better. Is that good? It's not my favorite code at all in the world. It's more verbose. It's not going to reduce down to a view unit. But is it making the diff more complete? A little bit. I'll leave those alone for whatever reason. Okay. Then lastly, Conic Gradient. So we need two different Conic Gradients. So we're just doing regular Conic Gradient from coming all the way around. Also 225. Okay. And then this purple of 25%, and then transparent. There it is, and then we need to do an at 25%. 6, 5, 4, 0.1, 3.5. There we go. That's not terrible. Not great, but it's not terrible. All right, I'm really hoping that we can get this done with this. Otherwise, I'm breaking out the clip path. Okay, so where do we got? We're doing the from here is from 45 degrees. And then that is at, let's call it 80%. And then decrease 75. 76, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. And let's see if that is 100% match. Doesn't look that much better than what we had before, unfortunately. 99.9%. That's alarming and unhappy. So, what's the way to do this? What's the way to do this properly? We got the linear gradients to constrain, and then we did those. So how about we break up this problem into smaller problems? Well, or we just need to nip at the edges of the linear gradient. So if that's a problem, then we can adjust the linear gradients that begin the whole affair. 4, 3, 0.1, 2, 4, 0.5, 2, 5, .9. So I'm looking right now at this edge right here. That's it. That's the only thing I care about right now. 2.12. That's better. So is that, do we want that same number, 3372.3? Is it worth it? Because right now we're at 99.9. Okay, try that. Let's resubmit. So this one seems to be a problem, and this one is a problem. And then the other thing that I've seen with issues like this is sometimes with a conic gradient, you need to do degrees, and then you need not to have the color stop be at a 0, but just slightly off from that, and that can help. Does that make sense? I don't know that it makes a lot of sense, but at this point I'll try anything. Okay, and then we got, which one's the problem? Yeah, that's the problem. All right, so let's move him over horizontally. .3 pixels. How about 70.3 pixels instead as our number? And let's submit that. Pretty messy. Pretty messy. 99.9%. All right, so here's where I go into my solutions, prior solutions, and this is from July of last year, and load what I've got. And here's the clip path. That's the clip path, and this is 100% match. So what is that? It looks pretty similar to what I had before, and it actually looks like it's got a little bit of error too, doesn't it? So if I submit this, this will show that it is, yes, it is indeed 100% match. Okay, so what can we do to tune this solution? We can make that a paragraph tag, and then change this selector to be P, and we get the same result. We've got height, width, so that's a 94 view height. 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. And actually, do we even need the widths? We've got pixels on the margin here, which is something that I used to do until I discovered that we don't need them. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 61. Let's submit that and see if we're still on the right track. We might not be. It's possible. Okay, so that's 100% match still. And I think here we can just do margin 0. For height, this 47 view height, what's 47? So 47 view height, what is that? Is that 63 or something? 63, no, that can't be right. No, I don't know what I'm saying there. Let's just do numbers. Well, I'm going 10, 20, 30, 40, 41. And let's submit that, and that should be slightly better even. And that is a better score, yes. Are there any other things things that we can do to tune. We only set the height. We do not set a margin. I guess we could remove this because we don't need it. Height of 141. Background is the color, and the clip path is what defines the shape. And then we can do the final removal of the final brace to get a final score. So a little bit of a cheat. I have done this one before, but as you can see, the one that gets a good score and the proper score is the clip path solution. Disappointing. I'm a little disappointed, but as I said, the clip path I think is the right way to go. You can make it, and I do have a CodePen with all those things in it. I'll put that in the notes. So yeah, lots of ways to do this shape, but not that makes the parser on CSS Battle happy. There are probably other solutions to this. Like, you could also create an element and do this shape, cut it out, and then rotate it, right? Like, and this could be, you could do this kind of with Conic Gradients too. A repeating Conic Gradient 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you still need 2 Conic Gradients apparently, so you need to cut that out. Anyway, that was a fun one. Sorry I gave up there. All right, blank template. Let's do it. I feel like we burned a lot of time there. Apologies for that. Here we go. Next. All right, let's do that same thing of creating an element that's just this size. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 90, 91, 92. And then the height, 130, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200. All right, so we've got that shape. So how do we create, what shapes to create to clip out these particular squares? And is the right solution to have one single element, or could we do this with multiple elements? That's the question I'm asking myself. Okay. It has me thinking about, if you had a single background that included all of these shapes, could you do it? So if it's 5 elements, and actually, all right, here's a solution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 color stops, right? We got the first one, B, C, D, E. All right, and let's make the height of this, what's it gonna be, 40? Right? And let's put the margins up here, and this margin is 0. All right, so each one of these is slightly different. So B, C, D, E. So this is a linear gradient coming in from the side. And let's see what we need to do here. We do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 color stops, right? Like var of, it's either pink, default of pink, or a. Okay, so here's the naming problem. We've got an implicit A, the first one, B, C, D, E, F. So let's do M, and we'll do 5 color stops. And we will default to the top one. So it'll be that purple, or and then it's M, N, O, P, Q. And no trailing space. And there it's just at 90 degrees. So they're all the same now. And if it's, so that's 20%, right? 0, 40%. 0, 60%. 0, 80%. 0, and that's it. Okay. We've got some problem here. Oh, the extra paren. Oh, no, an extra comma in the wrong place. So that's now what we've got. So what's the problem with this? Okay, so we've got this. These numbers are slightly wrong. So 20%, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it pixels? 22, 25, 22%? I'm not sure that makes sense, but that's interesting. Let's just do it in pixels. 40 pixels, 50, 51, 52. 48, so that's interesting. 48. And so, oh, that width is wrong. That width is wrong. Okay, so it's, and let's default this one differently so that we can capture that edge. Okay, so there's your problem. Let's be confident about our 20% number and then make this wider, huh? Because we don't have a width set, and so in theory this should cleanly go into this. So again, premature creation. Okay, so the width is incorrect. Let's do this again. $200, $220, $30, $40, $50, $60. $260 is the width. I'm not sure why that's not working, but now it's making me slightly sad. Okay, so and then again I foot gunned by making this not be the right thing. Okay, so it's not 220, 260, 210, 205, 204, 3, 202, 201, 200. It is 200 wide. That means the margin should be 100, and then that works. What happens if I put the red in here? Definitely kind of off the rails here. Sorry about that. All right. MNOPQ. So the first one's good. The second one, we need to override --m and have it be pink. And then --p will be the purple. And we gotta uncomment the HTML we just commented. Silly. The next one. So really it's about setting purple. And maybe I want to change my mind about how this works. No, that's fine. So we're going to copy pink. So, and then E also has M. Okay. The rest are good. Okay, so N is purple in the third and fifth row. N, purple. Pasting the wrong thing. There we go. And in the final row. Boop. Okay. And then in the final row, also purple is Q. And then in the fourth row, O ought to be purple. And that's it. It's a lot of, doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel like great code, but it does seem to be working. I think we can remove this auto. I am leaving the margin on because paragraph tags have a default margin. And so that does match 100%. Let's unit replace and minify, and then resubmit and see, make sure that we're in good position there. So, you know, it's a fun one. And I guess this is a better score than I've gotten in the past, so I'm happy with that. I'm happy enough. There's a few other characters we can trim off. So we'll do that as part of our code golf. Again, that's November 20th, 2023. A lot of steps. So 5 elements is what that is. And you can see those 5 stacked paragraph. They all have the same linear gradient with some variables plopped out. So in theory, you could do pixel art with all kinds of different versions of this. So kind of a fun little experiment. All right, next. Well, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because the default border just happens to be black, and the default background is white. So how little code? This is definitely getting into how little code can you write. So let's do I guess it's 40-0 or something, and let's do border solid. So already we have partly a solution, but we need a width on that. So 40 pixels. Is that right? No, that's way too thick. 20 pixels. Height 120, 30, 40, 50, 60. There's your first one. Right? We don't need a background because it's white, and we don't need a background here either, because that's white. What else? We need a second one. And how's that one different? Well, I think if we just adjust our margins, we can make it go upward. Margin minus 100. So now we're going upward with that. And then 20. And then our height 50 or something. Okay. So by constraining the margins to be exactly what that border was, so we're up too high, 17, 16, 17, 175 maybe, 175, 176, and then the height needs to be 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. And that might be it. Let's submit it. Let's submit it and find out. So that's one approach. You could also do this with a combination of linear gradients, right? Conic gradients. This is terser than I've done in the past, so less code, better score. I don't remember how I did this in the past. I don't want to look at it. It's fine. This is a far better way to do it, clearly. So I'm resubmitting, and we're done with these from November of 2023. Super fun shapes, really, in a lot of ways. Apologies for the having to go back into the past for this one. This one was fun. I actually kind of do like this solution. It does bring to mind pixel art in a way that's really pleasant. I got a post on my website about how I used to do pixel art on a TI-99 4A computer, and you literally like drew it on a graph paper and turn it into hexadecimal, and it's a lot of fun. All right, I'll put that in the notes too. Okay, take care of each other. Have a great day. CSS is fun. HTML is fun. Make a cool web page. Make something cool with CSS today. And take care of each other. Bye bye.